Hello there, folks. If you are wondering why I am wearing a different shirt than I previously was in this video, it is because right when I was recording, all of a sudden my phone ran out of space. Too many Bernie Sanders images saved. Too many. Anyway, so I had to, whoa, I almost slipped. Anyway, so I had to delete a few things off my phone to get enough storage back. And so here I am, a few days later, wearing different outfit and continuing this video. So, back to the story about Mr. Renault. So, even after him insisting, anyone could do this job, trust me, anyone, even after telling us that, nobody, and I mean nobody, not a single person, 0 people were raising their hands. And so, because I did not want Mr. Renault to have one of his fits again, where he says, "Oh, my God, none of you are raising your hand, this is unbelievable," because I didn't want that to happen, I said, I decided to take one for the team, and I raised my hand. But then, he says, I'm gonna have to talk to you about that. You just said anyone could do the job. What's the problem? Why do you have to talk to me about it? And so, anyway, later that day, he said, "Travis, will you come to my office, please?" And I said, okay. Now, I thought he was going to say, "Travis, you don't do any work in this class, so you're gonna have to start actually doing your work before you can start doing these other things." That's what I thought he was going to say to me, but that is not what he said to me. What he actually said is, he had me come in, I sat down, and I said, "What is it, Mr. Renault?" And then he says, he takes out a book, and he gives me the book, and he says, "Why don't you, read a few things from this book for me? For practice. So you can be the anchor." And I said, okay. And I started reading stuff from the book. But then he says, "Hold on right there." And he interrupts me and he says, "Travis, do you, realize that you have a very unusual voice?" And then, well, first of all, Mr. Renault, your voice sounds pretty weird too. And I said, I guess. And then, so he explains to me, he says, "Now, Travis, I can't." He basically rejects me for the job, even though he said anyone can do it. But he says, "Travis, your voice is, so high-pitched. When you're reading, when you're presenting the news, everyone, once they hear your voice, they're all gonna start immediately laughing. Now, I can't have that as an anchor reading when it's supposed to be serious news." Now, first of all, that does not make any sense, because it is not serious news it's not like I'm reporting and there was a mass shooting at the mall. It's not like I'm saying that stuff. That's not the type of stuff we do that they do on the show. It's not like I'm saying shit like that. It's all it is it's like school news. It's like, if you want to join this club, go to Miss Hyder's class or some shit like that. It's not like serious news, as Mr. Renault claims. It's just school shit. How is that serious news? So why does it matter? That's not serious news, so why does it matter? And second of all, why would it be a problem? And also, if anything, it's a benefit, because let me tell you, Mr. Renault's bulletins, his news show, if you look, he posts it all on his Vimeo. Do you know how many views his videos get? They get like
10 views at most. That's like a really good day for him. Like a really popular video gets like 10 views. Normally they get like 2. And so wouldn't it be better if you had some person with a voice that's funny, making it more entertaining for people to watch? Now, wouldn't that be better for the show? Because it would get more people maybe to tune in. Like, if anything, it would be a positive. Because it would be more entertaining. But he says, no, we can't do that. So, he basically rejected me, even though anyone could do this job, but apparently I cannot do this job. Because I'm not anyone, I guess. Very disgraceful of Mr. Renault, but that's fine, I guess. I only raised it in the first place, so he wouldn't get mad at the class. But oh well, that's my story about Mr. Renault and being in anger for his show. Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention. He also, the way he specifically described it, he said, "You sound like a cartoon." That's very important. That's how he described my voice. It's like a cartoon, Travis. You sound like a cartoon. So that's what he said specifically. Anyway, also, I am now going to be playing a clip from the original recording, or I should say the original from the day I first began recording this rant. I'm going to play a clip from that. So the shirt's going to change again, but then it's going to be back to this one. Just letting you know, a heads up. Now to the old clip. There's another student that Mr. Renault got mad at. I forget his name, but so basically the context of it was that Mr. Renault had an assignment, and his assignment was for everyone in the class. Like, alright guys, your assignment, I'm going to be giving you homework. And your homework is to watch the Democratic debate in Michigan. And it's pretty weird because, first of all, why would that be the assignment for a video productions class? What does the Democratic Party debate between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders have to do with video productions class? I mean, so it's like some completely random thing. And also it's like 2 hours long. And one student asked, are we going to be getting any points for this? He says, no, it's not worth any points. It's like, so then how's it an assignment? Like, why would anyone do the assignment if it's worth no points? You want people to watch a 2-hour debate for your class, and it's not worth any points. Who the fuck is going to do that except people like me that were already going to watch it anyway? But no one that was not already inclined to watch that is going to watch that for you, Mr. Renault, when you're not giving them any points for it. I mean, who does an assignment if it's not worth any points? Makes no sense. And then one student says, oh, I'm not going to watch that. And Mr. Renault says, really? You're not going to watch it? This is an assignment. Why not? And then he says, well, I'm going to be at the skate park. Like, says, and then Mr. Renault says, oh, really? So you'd rather be at the skate park than watching the Democratic debate? The assignment for my class? And then he says, yeah. And then Mr. Renault says, oh, really? Is that so? I'm going to need a note from your mother saying that you're going to be going to the skate park instead of doing the assignment that I asked, watching the Democratic debate like I asked. And then he just says, okay. Like, oh, that Mr. Now is a strange one. Very strange, very unusual. Anyway, the day after this, we come into the class, and Mr. Renault asks,
Alright, so which one of you guys watched the Democratic debate?
and like, about 3 or 4 people raised their hands. And Mr. Renault says,
Really? Is that so? So you're telling me that I specifically asked for you guys to watch the debate? I gave it as an assignment, and only 4 people out of a class that has 30 students listened and did the assignment? Is that what you're telling me?
now, of course, Mr. Renault, that is what they're telling you, because you were not giving any points for that assignment, Mr. Renault. Of course, they are not going to watch a 2-hour debate unless they were planning to already for an assignment if they're not getting any points. Like, who is going to take 2 hours out of their time to do something for your teacher that you don't like when you're not even getting any points? Like, you don't get a single point for that. So, of course, no one was going to watch that shit, Mr. Renault. I mean, use your common sense. And anyway, so he asks... So then, but after he finishes complaining, he asks the students that did watch it to give their thoughts on it. And what did you think about the debate? So he asked the students. Actually, he asks all the students except one. He does not ask what they thought about the debate. All the students that raised their hand. He skipped one. Can you guess which one he skipped? Can you guess which one he skipped? He skipped me. He didn't ask me what I thought. I raised my hand, and he just skips me. He asks everyone else,
What did you think about the debate?
but he doesn't ask me. Really, Mr. Renault? That's not very fair of you. I mean, why would you skip me? Why would you ask everyone else, but not me? I mean, I had some thoughts on that debate, but he just skips me. Unbelievable. Anyway, you know what's another weird thing about Mr. Renault? He always just randomly does this. Like, when he's speaking to someone, he'll just randomly say to you,
Give me $1.
He always does that. Like, he'll just be speaking to you at the desk, like, talking about stuff.
Like, alright, now here's your next assignment you need to do.
And then he just randomly says,
Now give me $1.
all the time,
Give me $1. Give me $1. Now give me $1.
Now, Mr. Renault, should you really be asking, for change from your students? I mean, they don't pay you. I mean, I guess teachers aren't paid that much, so that's true. But, I mean, Mr. Renault, your students are not paid very much either. I mean, you're getting money. Can't you find someone else to get money from other than your students? Anyway, one time I was complaining about Mr. Renault. I was like, oh my god, I hate this guy. So I was complaining about him. But then, can you guess what happens? My male parental unit goes and hears what I say, complaining about him, and then goes and reports him to the school. And I did not ask him to do that. And then so he reports him, and then the next day, I'm sitting at my computer, and then Mr. Renault all of a sudden comes to me, and he says,
Travis, did you report me to the office?
Now, first of all, what the fuck? Are they telling him? Did the office tell him that I reported him? Like, that kind of ruins the whole purpose of a report if you're going to just be telling the teacher who reported them, because no one's going to want to report them then if you're telling them who did it. Like, that kind of ruins the whole point of it. Like, no one's going to want to do it because they don't want to get in trouble. So that's very bad handling by the staff. Well, to be fair, I don't know for sure that they told him. Maybe they just told him that someone reported him and he just guessed it was me.
He's like, of course it was that piece of shit, Travis. I hate him, the one with the cartoon voice. He must have been the one that did that.
Maybe that's what happened. But anyway, he goes Actually, that probably is what happened. He probably just guessed, but he goes to me and he says,
Travis, did you report me?
because I guess if he knew, he would have just said, you reported me, but instead he asked, so I guess he just guessed it was me. But
He says, Travis, did you report me?
and I said,
Are you telling them that I'm a bad teacher? That I'm not any good? Is that what you're telling them? That I'm bad?
and I said, I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Renault. I would never report you. I have no idea what you're talking about.
And then he just, oh, okay. Oh, really? All right.
And then he just walks away. That, I did not like that. I was like, fuck, what the fuck? It's like, anyway, that's about all I have to say about Mr. Renault. About his class, that's about all I have to rant. But I will give you one more thing. Because this, perhaps, is what you've all been waiting for. The explanation. Why is Mr. Renault portrayed as a pedophile in British Fish Productions? Perhaps that is the question that you're asking and that you really want to know. Well, I'll tell you. There's actually not. Okay, so it's not like he didn't rape someone or something like that, or at least if he did, we don't know. I mean, I'm not giving any definitive statement that he did not, because I don't know for sure. Maybe he did, but if he did, I don't know. But it's pretty simple. One day, so every day we used to come into Mr. Renault's class for break, and we used to hang out in his class. But then all of a sudden, one day, we went there, and the door was locked. We opened it, and the door wouldn't open, and so the door was locked. And it was the same day, remember what I said earlier at the beginning of the video, that the middle schoolers from Miss Haas's class used to go and visit Mr. Renault's class. So it was that day when the middle schoolers were visiting. And that day, only that day, that's the only day this ever happened, the door was locked at break. And we were like, why is the door locked? And that's how it started. And that kicked off, that's what kicked off the whole Mr. Renault is a pedophile running gag, the joke. That's what started it off. Okay, now, I know I said that was the last thing, but one more thing, and I promise, this is the actual last thing. This doesn't really have to do with me, but it is about Mr. Renault. There's a student, Francis, that I mentioned earlier. He was the one that sat next to me in that class, and one day, why the fuck would Mr. Renault do this? I don't understand this. Mr. Renault was mad at that guy for some reason. I don't know why the fuck he was mad at him, but he was for some reason. And so Mr. Renault he says, I want to have a meeting. This is what he said to him. I want to have a meeting with you and your mother on the last day of school, after school. What the fuck? That is so fucking weird. Why the fuck would you want to have a school meeting with a student and their parent on the last day of school, after school? What is the point of that? Because at that point, you're done with the class. Like, there's no more school. The class is over. They're not a student in the class anymore when the bell rings and it's the last day of school. So you're, like, asking to have a meeting with someone that's not even really in your class anymore. Like, what's the point of that? Like, you're gonna complain to him, he needs to straighten himself out.
straighten himself out. He needs to work on his behavior. It's done. The school year is over. There's no more of this class. Like, what is the point of that? That is the weirdest fucking, most pointless fucking shit ever. Having a school meeting on the last day of school after school. Have you ever heard of that? Have any of you ever heard of that? A teacher doing that? Isn't that weird? That makes no sense. What is wrong with this guy? Oh my god, this guy's fucking crazy. I hate that guy. Oh well, at least I'm done with his class. Thank God. Really, after school, on the last day of school, I just can't get over how fucking weird that is. That makes no sense.